Have you ever heard of a place where the human body glows and vanishes after death? A land where monks can dry soaking wet sheets with nothing but their breath? In temperatures below -40 degrees? Or a realm where people believe the soul never dies? It simply changes address. Welcome to Tibet. A realm suspended between heaven and earth, where the laws of modern science seem to bend and the impossible becomes part of daily life. In today's journey with world mysteries, you'll uncover the secrets of monks who vanish into light, the ancient search for reincarnated souls, and the hidden truth behind the legend of the Yeti. Take a deep breath, because what you're about to hear may make you see the world in an entirely different light. Part 1. Tibet, the land between reality and reverence. When it comes to sacred lands, where myth and reality intertwine so seamlessly that the boundary between them vanishes, nowhere on earth is as majestic or mysterious as Tibet. Like a hidden kingdom among the clouds, Tibet is not merely a geographic location. It is a living legend, breathing and pulsing amidst the towering Himalayas. It is a land where harsh geography and freezing climate have given rise to a rich, spiritual tradition, one that draws seekers of truth from all corners of the world. Perched atop the Qinghai Tibet Plateau, the highest plateau on Earth with an average altitude exceeding 4,500 meters above sea level, Tibet is rightfully called roof of the world. The air here is so thin that first-time visitors often feel as if they're breathing at the edge of space. Yet this extreme environment is what makes Tibet a land between two worlds. A place where humans feel closer to the heavens and to truths beyond ordinary understanding. If India and Nepal are considered the cradle of Buddhism, then Tibet is where that spiritual philosophy evolved into a unique and powerful tradition known as Vajrayana Buddhism, or Tibetan Tantric Buddhism. Tibet is not only the land of monks and the Dalai Lama, but also a realm where concepts like reincarnation, impermanence, and enlightenment are woven into the very fabric of daily life. Here, every stone might be a symbol, every monastery bell a message from another realm. Modern-day Tibet is an autonomous region of China, but the native culture and Tibetan identity remain fiercely preserved. The majority population is ethnically Tibetan, living in scattered towns or leading nomadic lives across the vast highlands. Ethnic minorities like the Qiang, Loba, and a number of Han and Hui settlers also called Tibet home. Life here is inseparable from nature. Whether it's herding yaks, growing barley on sun-scorched soil, or chanting sacred mantras atop snow-laden cliffs, the Tibetan landscape is a symphony of grandeur and solitude. Standing amid snow-capped peaks, one feels as small as a speck of dust, and perhaps that's why Tibetans have always turned inward, seeking freedom from the cycle of rebirth. Towering mountains appear like guardians of the soul, while ancient monasteries such as Potala, Sakya, and Tashilhunpo serve as gateways between the human and the divine. Not just a spiritual heartland, Tibet is also known as the third pole of the earth, following the north and south poles due to its immense reserves of glaciers and ice. It is the birthplace of many of Asia's great rivers, including the Yellow River, Mekong, Brahmaputra, and Ganges, arteries that sustain billions of lives across the continent. In the age of climate change, Tibet's role as the frozen reservoir of the world becomes even more vital. What's even more curious is this: the higher the altitude, the more sacred the perception of life becomes. The closer to the sky, the more people feel the need to humble themselves before the mysteries of the cosmos. And in Tibet, spirituality is not a rigid set of rules. It is breath, woven into homes, prayers, and the wind sweeping across the empty steppes. It's no wonder this land is also known as the realm between illusion and reality, a place where every occurrence, legend, or trace might open a doorway to another world. From ancient libraries hiding forbidden knowledge, to sacred caves believed to lead into Shambhala, the mythical kingdom of peace, Tibet seems to guard some of humanity's most profound secrets. Perhaps that's why Tibet exerts such a powerful allure. In a world dominated by data and surveillance, Tibet stands silent, remote, timeless, enigmatic, like a riddle the modern world has yet to solve. What might be hidden beneath those pristine layers of snow? Could this land really be a cosmic threshold between the physical and the metaphysical? Our journey into the mysteries of Tibet has only just begun. In the next chapter, we'll ascend to the very top of the world, the legendary Mount Everest, to uncover why this summit represents not only a physical conquest but a symbolic triumph over the limits of human endurance and understanding. Part 2. Mount Everest, humanity's ultimate challenge. Rising 8,048.86 meters into the sky, Mount Everest is more than just the highest peak on Earth. It is a timeless symbol of human ambition, courage, and the enduring mystery of nature. Known as Chomolungma in Tibetan, meaning Goddess Mother of the World, and Sagarmatha in Nepali, forehead in the sky. Everest is a place where the boundary between life and death, triumph and tragedy, becomes razor-thin. This massive titan straddles the border between Nepal and Tibet, towering above the surrounding Himalayan landscape like a crown of ice. It is not only physically overwhelming but spiritually daunting. A mountain revered, feared, and mythologized by generations of mountaineers and mystics alike. It beckons the brave and the foolish with equal force, testing not just physical stamina, but the human soul. What makes Everest such a terrifying and mesmerizing presence is not just its height, it's the conditions that rule its slopes. Temperatures can plummet to -60 degrees Celsius during winter. Winds can howl at over 200 to 300 kilometers per hour, strong enough to sweep a person or their equipment into oblivion. But the most insidious enemy is the lack of oxygen. At the summit, oxygen levels drop to just 33% of what we breathe at sea level. This isn't just uncomfortable, it's life-threatening. Above 8,000 meters lies the infamous death zone. In this realm, the human body begins to shut down. The cells cannot repair themselves. The mind becomes foggy. One wrong decision, one slight misstep, and you're not coming back. It is said that every step in this zone is like lifting your leg through wet concrete. Every breath, a battle. Time becomes a luxury climbers can no longer afford. Even with oxygen tanks and specialized gear, survival here hangs by a thread. Despite these dangers, Everest continues to pull in thousands of climbers each year, from seasoned adventurers to ambitious novices. What drives them? Some say it's the challenge. Others call it ego. But for many, it's something deeper, a calling to face the extremes of nature and themselves. Reaching the summit is often described as a spiritual experience, an encounter with the divine, a moment when earth and sky seem to meet. But that moment comes at a steep cost. Climbing Everest can require $100,000 to $200,000 in preparation, permits, gear, and guides. Training takes months, sometimes years. Even then, success is not guaranteed. Over 300 people have died on Everest since attempts to summit began. Some bodies still lie where they fell, frozen in time, serving as grim reminders of Everest's unrelenting danger. Common killers include altitude sickness, causing severe headaches, nausea, and confusion that can quickly spiral into coma or death if untreated. There's also frostbite, which can lead to permanent loss of fingers, toes, or limbs. And then there are avalanches, blizzards, and ice falls, nature's sudden, merciless traps. Yet somehow, the mountain's danger is part of its appeal. Perhaps Everest isn't just a mountain to climb, it's a mirror that reflects the climber's deepest fears and greatest hopes. To stand on its summit is to stand, however briefly, at the edge of the human experience, where survival and surrender are just a heartbeat apart. And Everest is more than a physical challenge. It is also a spiritual monument. For Tibetan Buddhists, the mountain is sacred. No traditional Tibetan would dream of climbing to the summit. To them, it is a throne for deities, a gateway between earth and the divine. This belief adds a layer of reverence that many Western climbers fail to appreciate. In Tibetan folklore, Everest isn't just a peak, it is an entity, a guardian. Climbing it without respect is not just a physical risk, but a karmic one. Many climbers who survive speak of eerie moments, hallucinations, voices in the wind, strange lights at night. Are these tricks of oxygen-deprived brains or something else, something older, watching? It is this intersection between danger and divinity, between science and spirit, that makes Everest one of the world's most enduring mysteries. It is not just a test of the body, but of the soul. And every climber who reaches the top pays a price, some with their strength, others with their lives. But perhaps that's the true lesson of Everest. In an age where satellite images map every corner of the globe and algorithms predict the weather, Everest remains wild, unpredictable, and humbling. It is a monument not just to the Earth's majesty, but to the limits of human understanding. As climbers from all walks of life gaze up at its snow-covered face, one question echoes in every heart. How far are we willing to go to touch the sky? In the next chapter of our journey, we will descend from Everest's icy crown and turn toward a very different kind of mountain, Mount Kailash, a peak lower in height but infinitely more forbidden. No one has ever reached its summit, and not because of weather or skill. It is said that to step upon Kailash is to defy the gods themselves. Part 3. Mount Kailash, the sacred summit. No one dares to climb. If Mount Everest is the ultimate test of physical endurance, then Mount Kailash is a test of spiritual reverence, one that transcends human ambition. While Everest has welcomed the footsteps of thousands of climbers, Kailash, standing at a comparatively modest 6,638 meters, has never been summited. Not because it can't be climbed, but because no one dares. Located in western Tibet, Mount Kailash rises like a gigantic pyramid, with strikingly symmetrical ridges and striations. From a distance, it appears carved by divine hands. Some believe it's not a natural mountain at all, but an artificial structure built by a long-lost civilization. Yet more mysterious than its shape is the fact that no expedition has ever succeeded, or even been seriously attempted, to reach its summit. This is not a matter of terrain or weather. It's a matter of sacred prohibition. To millions across 4 major religions, Kailash is the spiritual center of the universe. In Tibetan Buddhism, it is known as Mount Meru, the cosmic pillar that connects Earth to the heavens. In Hinduism, Kailash is the abode of Lord Shiva, the god of destruction and rebirth. For Jainism, it is where the first Tirthankara attained liberation. And to the indigenous Bon religion of Tibet, Kailash is the source of all universal energy. Because of its spiritual magnitude, attempting to summit Kailash is considered a profound sacrilege. Unlike Everest, a mountain meant to be conquered, Kailash is a mountain meant to be revered. Devotees do not climb it. Instead, they circumambulate it in a sacred ritual known as the Kora, a 52-kilometer pilgrimage that takes days to complete through harsh terrain, snow, and thin air. It is believed that one Kora can purify a lifetime of sins, and 108 Koras can lead to enlightenment. What makes Kailash truly enigmatic, however, are not just the religious taboos, but the eerie stories and unexplained phenomena that surround it. One of the most famous tales dates back to 1955, when Russian explorer Sergei Ananov and his team attempted to scale Kailash. Not only did they fail, but they reportedly experienced bizarre symptoms: rapid aging, graying hair, and wrinkled skin, as if decades had passed in mere days. They were forced to retreat immediately. The story spread like wildfire, cited by Tibetan monks as proof of karmic retribution and divine wrath. According to Tibetan Lamas, those who attempt to climb Kailash will suffer spiritual consequences, bearing immense karmic debt and being cast into lower realms in future reincarnations. Some believe that the restless spirits of those who have dared to trespass still wander the area, unable to move on, creating strange energies and mysterious disappearances. Numerous climbing expeditions have reportedly been planned, especially during the 1990s by Chinese teams, but none were completed, and all related documents remain sealed or redacted. Why the secrecy? Could it be that authorities know something they're not sharing? Beyond spiritual legends, physical anomalies have also been reported near Mount Kailash. Pilgrims have claimed that watches and electronic devices run faster near the mountain, suggesting the presence of a unique energy field that distorts time itself. Others have described vivid spiritual experiences, mysterious lights, untraceable chants, and visions during deep meditation. These are not isolated incidents. They appear across accounts from people of different faiths and backgrounds. Some esoteric theorists believe that Kailash may be a gateway to Shambhala, the mythical kingdom described in Vajrayana Buddhist texts. It is said that only those with pure hearts and awakened minds can see the true path to this hidden realm, and that Mount Kailash is the key. Bolder hypotheses suggest that Kailash could be an ancient energy device, a kind of interdimensional transmitter or cosmic antenna connecting Earth with higher planes of existence. Others propose that it may be home to ancient extraterrestrial intelligence, and that's why it has been deliberately left untouched. Whether seen as mythology, metaphysics, or forbidden science, one fact stands unchallenged. No one has ever stood on the summit of Mount Kailash. And that fact alone turns this mountain into something more than a geographical feature. It becomes a sacred boundary, one that even the boldest explorers instinctively respect. In a modern world where nearly every mountain has been climbed, every ocean mapped, and every mystery scrutinized under the lens of science, Kailash remains silent, inviolable, and untouched, a monument to humanity's enduring reverence for the unknown. In the next chapter, we leave the sacred summits behind and journey deep into the hidden libraries of Tibet, repositories said to hold forbidden scriptures, ancient cosmologies, and knowledge so profound it has been kept secret for centuries. Part 4. The Hidden Libraries and Forbidden Knowledge of Tibet. From the sacred peaks like Mount Kailash, our journey into the mysteries of Tibet now descends into something even more concealed. The secret libraries buried within ancient monasteries, where knowledge extends far beyond religious texts, encompassing truths that may alter how we understand the universe, consciousness, and human potential itself. Tibet is not only the spiritual stronghold of Vajrayana Buddhism, but also the birthplace of one of the world's most enigmatic and esoterically guarded knowledge systems. Here, a library doesn't necessarily mean bookshelves and catalogs. It may be a hidden stone chamber, a sealed cave, or a carved wooden archive, accessible only to those deemed worthy through lineage or spiritual merit. The ancient manuscripts of Tibet are not limited to Buddhist teachings. Many of them delve into astronomy, traditional medicine, astrology, mantras, chakra energy systems, and interdimensional travel. Some are written in scripts that have never been deciphered, believed to be intelligible only to those who have achieved high states of spiritual awakening. One of the most astounding discoveries occurred in the Mogao Caves near Dunhuang, close to the Tibetan frontier. In 1900, a walled-off chamber sealed for centuries was accidentally uncovered. Inside were over 50,000 ancient scrolls, including Buddhist sutras, celestial charts, medical texts, and notably, the world's oldest printed Buddhist scripture, the Diamond Sutra, dated to 868 CE. This document predates Western printing by hundreds of years. The revelation of such a massive printing operation in an isolated cave shook the academic world and raised a provocative question. How much more remains hidden or deliberately concealed in the highlands of Tibet? Another site steeped in mystery is Sakya Monastery, located in southern Tibet. This monastery is said to house over 84,000 ancient manuscripts, stored in vast halls stretching dozens of meters long. The contents of these texts span far beyond ethics and meditation, describing esoteric rituals, yogic techniques, mythical creatures like the Yeti, and spiritual phenomena such as rainbow body transformation, where an enlightened practitioner dissolves into pure light at death. Some documents even speak of lost technologies, beings from the stars, and maps to alternate realms. Tibetan tradition includes the sacred concept of terma, or hidden teachings, sacred texts concealed intentionally to protect their wisdom from misuse or destruction. These may be buried in caves, built into monastery walls, or hidden beneath the earth. Only specific lineage holders or realized masters are permitted to reveal them, and only at the appropriate time in human evolution. Whispers among advanced practitioners speak of scrolls that contain methods to unlock full human spiritual potential, instructions to decode the structure of the cosmos, or even ways to access non-human knowledge. Some of these are said to be preserved in remote, inaccessible monasteries, transmitted through secretive teacher-student lineages for centuries. But why hide this knowledge? Could it be because humanity is not yet ready to wield such power? Or perhaps because revealing it would upend the foundations of modern science, religion, and society? Some researchers believe that Adolf Hitler sent expeditions to Tibet during World War II to hunt for these sacred scriptures, searching for ancient power sources, immortality techniques, or esoteric knowledge of the cosmos. Though much remains speculative, the absence of public records and the mysterious disappearances of some expeditions only deepen the intrigue. Another compelling theory suggests that Tibetan monasteries may hold the complete spiritual history of humanity, from prehistoric civilizations like Lemuria and Atlantis to the shifting of Earth's tectonic plates and planetary alignments. These manuscripts may describe giant races, global cataclysms, and even evolutionary paths that transcend space and time. Some claim that if all Tibetan termas were to be revealed, humanity would enter a new era, where physics, consciousness, and cosmology would merge into a unified spiritual science, one where enlightenment and knowledge are no longer separate pursuits. And yet, to this day, many monasteries remain closed to outsiders, many texts remain untranslated, and Tibet continues to guard its mysteries silently, revealing them only to those deemed truly ready, those whose hearts, minds, and spirits align with higher truths. In the next chapter, we will delve into the ancient legend of Shambhala, a mystical kingdom spoken of in sacred Tibetan texts. Said to lie hidden beyond the snowy mountains, it is a realm of peace, light, and wisdom, accessible only to those who have transcended worldly illusion. Part 5. Shambhala, the hidden kingdom beyond the snowy mountains. Hidden behind the icy ridges of the Himalayas, beyond the reach of even the most detailed maps, lies a timeless legend, the mystical kingdom of Shambhala. Mentioned in ancient Vajrayana Buddhist texts, Shambhala is not merely a place. It is a sacred idea, a spiritual dimension said to reveal itself only to those who are truly enlightened. In Sanskrit, Shambhala means place of peace and happiness. It is not somewhere you can reach by airplane or jeep. According to texts like the Kalachakra Tantra, Shambhala is a glorious hidden kingdom, inhabited by enlightened yogis, spiritual warriors, and luminous beings who live in perfect harmony, shielded from the chaos of the outside world. Tibetan tradition describes Shambhala as being encircled by snow-covered peaks, accessible only through invisible gates or sacred caves hidden deep within the Himalayas. But these gates cannot be opened by force. They open through consciousness. Only those who have attained a certain level of spiritual awakening, those with the right karma, can perceive the path. There are countless stories from mystics and explorers who claim that in deep states of meditation, they were led to another realm, bathed in unfamiliar light, where radiant beings dwelled who did not seem of this earth. Some say they heard bells chiming from within the mountains, though no one was there. Just echoes of a spiritual realm vibrating through another dimension. One of the most notable seekers of Shambhala was Nicholas Roerich, a Russian painter and explorer. During his 4-year expedition through Tibet in the 1920s, Roerich documented strange supernatural occurrences, from glowing lights in the sky to hidden monasteries nestled in cliffs that no maps recorded. On one occasion, he even claimed to have witnessed a UFO-like object over the Tibetan plateau, sparking theories that Shambhala may be connected to extraterrestrial civilizations. According to Tibetan Lamas, Shambhala is not just a place, it is a state of consciousness. When the world descends into darkness, when morality collapses and war spreads, a great king named Rudra Chakran is said to emerge from Shambhala, leading an army of enlightened warriors to defeat evil and usher in a new golden age. This prophecy bears striking resemblance to other traditions of a messianic return, suggesting Shambhala may be a shared archetype of global spiritual hope. The ancient texts do not describe Shambhala as a metaphor. It is depicted as a physical place, with cities, rivers, mountains, and luminous architecture built according to sacred geometry. Each sector of Shambhala is said to serve a different spiritual purpose, one for healing, another for wisdom, and another for connecting with other dimensions. Some Western researchers believe that Shambhala may actually be a hidden underground city, built by ancient civilizations such as Atlantis or Lemuria, whose knowledge far surpassed ours. Others suggest that Shambhala may lead to Agartha, a fabled subterranean network of advanced societies connected by tunnels beneath the earth. In ancient Buddhist texts, Shambhala is described as a living mandala, a cosmic diagram where every path, structure, and element reflects divine order. The symmetry, energy lines, and sacred numbers encoded in its geography are said to resonate with the human body and spirit, creating a direct interface between soul and cosmos. Even more intriguingly, some Tibetan monasteries claim to possess maps to Shambhala. Not physical ones, but spiritual maps encoded within sacred texts. Only those who have received proper initiations and mastered advanced inner practices can decode them. Some great lamas have spoken of Shambhala, only to conclude with a cryptic warning: you will not find it unless your heart becomes the gate. So what is Shambhala really? A literal place? A spiritual metaphor? A parallel realm? Or an interdimensional portal? Could it be an underground sanctuary, a memory from the collective subconscious, or a destination for those who transcend space and time? Perhaps it is all of these, and perhaps none. Shambhala does not exist for the seeker with maps and logic. It exists for the seeker with stillness and sincerity. It is not something you conquer, but something you become. In the next chapter of our exploration, we'll venture into the mysterious caves believed to be gateways into Shambhala, places where, according to legend, people have entered and vanished for decades, only to return without aging, or perhaps never return at all. Part 6. The Mysterious Caves. Gateways to Shambhala and Other Dimensions. Amidst the icy vastness and majestic ridges of the Himalayas, hidden within jagged cliffs and mist-shrouded valleys, lie ancient caves that locals and Tibetan Lamas believe are more than mere places of retreat. They are gateways to Shambhala, and possibly even portals to other dimensions. For centuries, Vajrayana practitioners have ventured into these sacred caves to meditate in complete seclusion, for decades or even an entire lifetime. But what has captivated the attention of mystics and researchers alike are not just the remote locations, but rather the extraordinary accounts. Some say people have entered these caves for years and returned without having aged a single day. Is this folklore? Or is something truly happening within these sacred spaces, something that bends time and space? Certain Tibetan monasteries, such as Tashi Lunpo, Sakya, and especially Jonang Monastery, are believed to guard caves that connect to the other world. Access is reserved only for highly realized lamas, who undergo prolonged meditation retreats in complete darkness and silence to elevate their consciousness and connect with enlightened beings or ancient intelligences beyond our known reality. One of the most intriguing stories dates back to 1967, when a hermit monk named Ngawang Sangye vanished into a cave near Dzogchen for 30 years. When he finally reappeared, he reportedly looked younger than his peers, many of whom had assumed he was dead. Ngawang stated that time does not pass the same way inside. Eyewitnesses even claimed to feel a powerful energy field surrounding him, as if he had become something more than just human. Some caves are known to exhibit strange physical phenomena. Watches stop ticking, compasses spin erratically, cameras malfunction. In some places, sound seems to vanish, replaced by a low, humming vibration that resonates deep in the chest, as if the earth itself is whispering. Western spiritual researchers refer to these as energy vortexes, points on Earth where magnetic fields, gravity, and consciousness waves intersect, opening potential pathways between dimensions. Interestingly, the Tibetan Plateau, home to the highest concentration of monasteries per square kilometer, is believed to rest on a major planetary energy grid. Could it be that these ancient temples were purposefully built over dimensional gateways? Some bolder theories suggest these caves are remnants of underground facilities from prehistoric civilizations, or even extraterrestrial transit points. Secret tantric texts describe practitioners who transform into light or disappear into meditation and reappear elsewhere, narratives that may point to realities beyond even quantum physics. A chilling tale from 1992 tells of a Chinese expedition attempting to reach a deep cave near Mount Kailash. After 2 days of exploration, all radio contact was lost, and none of the team members returned. Years later, a local shepherd stumbled upon a camera device wrapped in monk's cloth, but the data was unwritable. Despite expert analysis, nothing could be recovered. Authorities swiftly sealed the area off, citing geological hazards, but many believe they were hiding something far more profound. What makes this even more fascinating is that Tibetan Lamas do not deny these stories. In fact, they often respond with a knowing smile, saying, "Not all doors are meant for humans. Some can only be opened by those who have passed through the gates within themselves." In an age obsessed with science, technology, and external exploration, these caves, unmarked, unlit, and ignored, stand as haunting symbols of what humanity may have lost, the ability to connect with the unseen. So are these Tibetan caves truly portals to other realms? Or are they mirrors that reflect the mind of the seeker? Perhaps it is purity, surrender, and unwavering faith that generate the kind of energetic resonance required to unlock what many call miracles. In the next part of our journey, we leave the stillness of the caves to confront one of the Himalayas' most controversial mysteries, the Yeti, the fabled snowman of the mountains, whose legends are etched in folklore, spotted in blurred photographs, and traced in unexplained footprints. Part 7. Yeti, the mysterious snowman of the Himalayas. Emerging from the silent caves of deep meditation, we now step into one of the most controversial and captivating enigmas of the Himalayas, the Yeti, or the abominable snowman. Far from just a campfire tale, the Yeti has become a symbol of both mankind's fear of the unknown and its hope that mystery still thrives in the hidden corners of the world. Legends of the Yeti have existed for thousands of years in the folklore of Tibet, Nepal, Bhutan, and Sikkim. To the Sherpa people, the indigenous inhabitants of the Himalayas, the Yeti is not a monster. Rather, it is a sacred spirit of the snow-covered forests, a guardian of holy places, and a being that only appears when humans have crossed boundaries of greed or ignorance. Descriptions of the Yeti are relatively consistent, a creature standing 2 to 3 meters tall, covered in gray-white or reddish-brown fur, slightly hunched, with massive feet unlike any known animal. Some claim its eyes are filled with intelligence. Others say it roars like thunder or has the ability to vanish instantly into thin air. The Yeti captured global attention in 1951 when British mountaineer Eric Shipton photographed a set of giant footprints near the Menlun Glacier, close to Everest. The prints, measuring over 13 inches, bore toes that seemed neither human nor animal. The image went viral for its time, and the West coined the term abominable snowman, sparking a flood of expeditions into the Himalayas. Over the decades, there have been hundreds of searches for the Yeti. Among the most notable were joint surveys by the governments of Nepal and the US in 1959, and recent high-tech missions employing drones, ground-penetrating radar, and DNA analysis. Yet the conclusion remains the same. There are signs, there are testimonies, but never definitive proof. But perhaps the more compelling question isn't, does the Yeti exist? But rather, what does it mean? For many in the East, the Yeti is not simply a Himalayan version of Bigfoot. It is not merely a biological anomaly, but a liminal being, standing at the threshold between the material world and the spiritual. Some Tibetan Lamas believe the Yeti to be a manifestation of protective deities, spiritual guardians who exist between heaven and earth to watch over sacred lands. Pilgrims venturing deep into the mountains are often told, "Do not seek the Yeti unless you've already found yourself." It's a poetic way of saying that only those with inner vision can perceive such entities. Meanwhile, scientists have offered more grounded explanations. Some speculate that the Yeti could be a surviving relative of the Neanderthals or even the extinct Gigantopithecus, a massive ape from prehistory. Many hair, bone, and scat samples attributed to Yetis have been DNA tested. Most turned out to be from Himalayan brown or black bears. Yet a handful of samples returned no match to any known species, and those results were often quietly shelved. Even more puzzling are eyewitness reports of the Yeti appearing and disappearing instantly, melting into the mist, as some described. This has led certain esoteric researchers to propose that the Yeti might be an interdimensional being, one capable of shifting between layers of reality. This theory, while fringe, explains why evidence is traceable, but never catchable. To Western spiritual thinkers, the Yeti can also represent our primal self, the wild, untamed consciousness that lives in harmony with the rhythms of the earth. In that sense, the journey to find the Yeti is also a journey to reclaim the uncorrupted parts of our soul, long buried beneath civilization. So what is the Yeti really? A creature science hasn't classified? A divine guardian? An illusion of the mind shaped by altitude, fear, or longing? Or is it something entirely beyond language and definition? In the Tibetan worldview, the Yeti is not something to be captured or studied. It is something to be respected and perhaps even feared, because it does not dwell only in snow and stone, but within the silent places of the self. In the next chapter, we explore the mysterious Tibetan sorcerers or high lamas, said to possess superhuman powers, from slowing their heartbeat until it stops, to leaping across cliffs, or even transforming their physical bodies into pure light. Are these just myths, or do they point to the untapped potential of human consciousness when freed from limitation? Part 8. Tibetan Sorcerers, Real Superpowers, or spiritual myth. In a land where the sky meets the mountains, where snow-capped peaks rise like sacred towers, exist individuals known not merely as monks, but as Tibetan sorcerers or tantric masters. They are said to possess abilities that defy logic, cultivated through decades of meditation, isolation, and mastery over the mind. Stories of superhuman powers attributed to Tibetan lamas have intrigued and baffled both spiritual seekers and scientists. These powers include generating intense internal heat in sub-zero temperatures using the mind alone, Tummo technique, walking or gliding across vast terrains at supernatural speeds, called Lungong-pa, slowing or even stopping their heartbeat to undetectable levels, seeing the past and predicting the future through deep meditative insight. And most astonishingly, the rainbow body phenomenon, in which the physical body dissolves into pure light upon death, leaving behind only hair and nails. These aren't just legends. The CIA once documented experiments involving Tummo, where monks sat nearly naked in freezing Himalayan conditions, with cold wet sheets draped over their shoulders. After a few hours of meditation, the sheets dried completely and steam rose from their bodies, something modern science couldn't explain by metabolism alone. Tummo, or inner fire, is not simply about heating the body. According to the lamas, it reflects a state of total control over the mind, allowing the practitioner to transcend physical limitations and unlock hidden energy reserves. Another startling account involves Lungong-pa, the fabled skywalking technique. In 1924, French explorer Alexander David Néel witnessed a monk bounding across a plateau in rhythmic, machine-like strides, eyes fixed in meditative trance, covering great distances with astonishing speed. Similar stories still circulate in Ladakh and remote regions of Ngari today. But perhaps the most mysterious tale is that of the rainbow body. In advanced Dzogchen practice, when a master reaches full realization, it is believed that upon death, their body gradually shrinks, emits radiant light, and vanishes completely, leaving behind only fingernails and hair, the densest, most material parts of the body. Over 160 cases have been recorded in Tibetan texts, and some contemporary witnesses claim to have seen it with their own eyes, though such claims remain controversial. Is this merely a spiritual metaphor? Or does it point to a quantum-level transformation, as some modern theorists propose? The idea is that these practitioners could alter their atomic structure, converting mass into light, a notion not entirely foreign to quantum physics, which shows that matter and energy are interchangeable. What unites all these accounts is a common principle. Power does not come from desire, it comes from complete surrender. These sorcerers do not see themselves as special beings. Instead, they see themselves as channels for universal energy, dedicated not to performance but to liberation, from suffering, illusion, and ego. In today's hyper-materialistic world, where we place our faith in data, logic, and speed, the image of an elderly lama sitting motionless atop a frozen peak, generating heat with breath alone, or vanishing into radiant light, challenges us to ask, have we lost touch with our true human potential? Maybe what we call superpowers are simply parts of the mind long frozen by distraction. Perhaps these Tibetan masters are not magical anomalies, but rather reminders of a forgotten truth embedded deep within us all. In the final part of our journey into the Tibetan mysteries, we will leave the mountaintops behind and descend to the sacred Lake Yamdrok, where the Tibetans believe reincarnated souls can be found. There, lamas embark on quests to identify the reincarnation of departed masters, using visions, dreams, and sacred signs to track the soul's return across lifetimes. Part 9. Tracing Reincarnated Souls, the Lama's Quest for the Next Incarnation. In a world ruled by data and empirical science, there still exists a place where people believe in something beyond time. The soul can be reborn, and the departed may return in the body of a child. That place is Tibet, home to a sophisticated and sacred system for identifying reincarnated spiritual leaders, known as the Tulku tradition. Tulku in Tibetan means the reincarnation of an enlightened master. When a high lama passes away, it is believed that his awakened consciousness does not vanish, but instead transitions into a new body, usually that of a child born within a few years of his death. But how does one locate a soul with no address or passport? The answer lies in a spiritual journey, steeped in ritual, intuition, and mystery. The search for a tulku begins immediately after the passing of a great Lama. Senior disciples and high monks entered deep meditation and prayer, seeking spiritual signs. They might receive mystical dreams, strange natural phenomena, divine sense, or even physical movements from the body of the deceased as clues to the next incarnation. One of the most well-known examples is the search for the 14th Dalai Lama, Tenzin Gyatso. When the 13th Dalai Lama died in 1933, his embalmed body was placed in a seated meditative position. One day, his head mysteriously turned toward the northeast, a phenomenon interpreted as a spiritual directive. Monks reported seeing unusual clouds, blooming flowers in the snow, and a double rainbow. Following these signs, a search party journeyed northeast to the village of Taksar, where a 2-year-old boy was said to display uncanny traits. He recognized items belonging to the former Dalai Lama, chanted mantras he had never learned, and addressed unfamiliar monks by their names. This is not an isolated incident. In Tibet, there have been over 2,000 officially recognized tulku cases throughout history, each one a fascinating journey that dances between myth and method, between the mystical and the meticulous. A key part of the confirmation process is the object test. The child is presented with a collection of items, some which belong to the previous Lama, while others are unrelated. If the child accurately identifies the correct belongings with consistent precision, it is considered a powerful sign of true reincarnation. Skeptics argue that these are cases of coincidence, suggestion, or even manipulation. But many of these tulku, when grown, have shown extraordinary wisdom, compassion, and spiritual maturity, remarkably echoing the personalities of their predecessors. But a tulku is not a holy child in the Western sense. They are bearers of spiritual legacy, raised and rigorously educated in monasteries, carrying the hopes and responsibilities of an entire community. They are not objects of worship, but living links in a chain of enlightenment. From a spiritual perspective, the tulku phenomenon is a living affirmation of reincarnation, a testament that death is not an end, but a transition in the journey of consciousness. From a philosophical standpoint, it reflects the continuity of human essence, bridging the gap between individuals and the infinite. Even from a psychological viewpoint, the phenomenon of young children recognizing people, places, and objects they've never encountered presents questions that modern science cannot yet fully answer. Could it be that the soul is not bound by time, body, or language? Could death be just a doorway to the next chapter, through which awakened beings always find a way back? And if the soul can indeed return, then perhaps the more important question is this: what legacy will we leave in this life that might be worthy of returning to? Tibet is not just a place, it's a gateway to mysteries beyond logic, where the human spirit, the soul, and the cosmos intertwine. From the elusive Yeti and supernatural monks to the quest for reincarnated souls, each story doesn't just astonish, it asks us, could the miraculous be lying dormant within us all? If this journey sparked your curiosity, don't forget to like if you're fascinated by the hidden and the unexplained. Comment to share your thoughts or strange experiences. Subscribe to World Mysteries so you never miss the next enigma waiting to be uncovered. Let's decode the world, one mystery at a time.